ELI5. Exactly what has AOC done that has made people distrust her so much? She says she's left-leaning but voted to end the rail strike. All they wanted was sick leave. Can't get over that at all. Reading the comments is fascinating. She's not cooperating with moderate Democrats. She's cooperating with moderate Democrats. She's not changing things because she doesn't stick to her principles. She's not changing things because she sticks to her principles. She wore a dress. That dress may or may not be expensive. She sometimes gets facts wrong. People are stupid. There are a few politicians that genuinely want positive change. Instead of voting for those politicians so that there are more of them in Congress and they have the voting power to get things done, people like to repeat that nothing will change because all politicians suck mantra. Of course, to be fair, a lot of this starts with troll factories who target stupid people. But even though the electoral system is a disaster and social media is troll-infested, the main problem is that too many people are idiots who will vote against their own interests. Or will not vote at all. I don't, because she's clearly never heard the phrase, "the perfect is the enemy of the good," and has voted against good compromise bills because they weren't everything she wanted. In general, it's a smear job by for-profit news. She's not really any more or less trustworthy than other politicians. But she gets a lot more media coverage than the average House rep. This coverage is partly because she spits fire on Twitter. But, well, mostly because she is pretty. Pretty people drive eyeballs. Even hateful nonsense like Tucker Carlson gets more views when their thumbnails are pretty people. So lots of airtime gets spent on her. If she quotes a bad source, or leaves out a nuance, or really, just says anything at all, Fox News, or whatever, spends 4 days yammering about it. If, say, Mike Thompson of the 4th District of California had done the same thing, he wouldn't get any coverage. So you hear a lot about how AOC is untrustworthy. The same thing happens for lefty news whenever she gets into a Twitter fight. Except the takeaway is how stupid the Republican she is arguing with is. She's good for viewership. Same concept as why so many people know who Jennifer Aniston dated. I can get both sides of this debate, but for me personally, she tends to expect people to get in line and support her views. I don't like people like that. I personally believe that we are all different, and are entitled to our own lives, as long as we are not harming others. I balk at "do as I say" people, just as I don't expect others to follow my personal views. On a policy basis, don't forget that she caved to neoliberal Dems by calling Nancy Pelosi Mama Bear after being persuaded to vote against a bill that would help her district. Initially she was very progressive, but at that point I gave up on her and understood that she was just another run-of-the-mill, empty word salad Democrat that doesn't actually fight for her constituents. For me, AOC is a Democratic version of Trump in that she's happy to be dishonest if it advances her political views and uses social media to make noise. Not to say she's like Trump in any other way. A few years back she got a Pentagon accounting story completely wrong, not just the details. She didn't understand it at all and said blatantly untrue things on Twitter. She went on 60 Minutes and was asked about it and said, "It's more important to be morally right than factually correct." There are other examples, but that quote encapsulates it. Everyone thinks they're morally right, which is precisely why facts matter. It's been noted in these comments that some dislike her for supposedly compromising her values and others dislike her for being unreasonable and not willing to negotiate. The thing is, both are true. She doesn't seem to have a core ideology she pushes for. Despite her claims, "I'm a progressive but we need to compromise sometimes for the good of the overall movement," is valid. "I'm a progressive and I feel I need to stick to my values and not compromise because someone needs to be the consistent progressive voice," is also valid. She tries to toe the line between the two and ends up looking untrustworthy to moderates and far leftists alike. And then there are missteps she's made along the way, like her really dumb interview comments about Israel or that very questionable photo shoot outside an immigrant detention center. She ran on Medicare for all, and when she had the political leverage to force a vote on it, she chickened out. To be honest, she isn't the vile human Republicans make her out to be. Nor is she the savior progressives believe her to be. She's just another politician with empty words. Hopefully one day the people as a whole will change this current system we're in. Nothing at all. I think that is the issue. She claims to have people's interests in mind, but she has done zero for her people. Pushed Amazon out of NY, which cost thousands of jobs. Claimed she and the squad would not vote for Pelosi as speaker so that the new generation can take charge. Reneged in that she is just a politician making noise and not change. She hasn't actually done anything, which is the opposite of what she said she would do, and what she does say indicates that she's kind of an idiot. Stuff like, "The government can't run out of money because we can always print more." Or, "Unemployment is only going down because people have 2 jobs." Or not being able to name the 3 branches of government. I could go on and on. But long story short is she's not nearly as smart as she thinks she is, and given her position of authority that makes her extremely dangerous. She manipulates public with half-truths and carnival tricks. In other words, she an outstanding member Congress. This subreddit needs a rule against political bias thinly veiled as a question. Been a bartender, had fun in college, speaks up against injustice, is a woman of color. She's an annoying loudmouth. I feel the same way about any politician regardless of party using Twitter to make snarky remarks. Back and forth. They all need to grow up. Mostly, it's her hypocrisy. As one example, and this is one of many, she spent a mint on her "tax the rich" dress so she could wear it to a super expensive dinner. Oh. And the dress was made by someone who owes a pile of cash in back taxes. People don't distrust her. The right doesn't trust her. She's a smart, capable, left-leaning, Puerto Rican woman. That's everything they hate. She betrayed the workers when it came down to the wire. Stop trusting her just because she's young. She's establishment now. In my opinion, she is unwilling to cooperate with the moderates in the Democratic Party. Last year she voted against the infrastructure bill even though she supported it, because Biden and the congressional leadership refused to lean on Manchin and Sinema to pass her version of the Build Back Better bill, which would have been useless anyway because Biden has no credible threat against those two. In the end, the infrastructure bill was passed with partial Republican support, and the BBB bill was eventually passed on a party line vote, but was called the Inflation Reduction Act. My point is that she was uselessly obstructionist to our constructive democratic agenda for publicity and her own narrow political gain. I respect that she is a good person, and has showed a lot of fortitude after she was assaulted during the Capitol riot, even going so far as to schmooze with rancid Republicans for the sake of getting things done. But as a politician, she is only holding the Democrats back by refusing to get on board with a realistic agenda.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.